Hello, and thank you so much for serving on this Sunday, November 24th, 2024. I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of what to expect this Sunday. But I'm going to start with the schedule. The two versions of the schedule are posted on the board, and they have dates on them. So we follow a modified schedule on Memory Verse Sunday, which happens to be this week. So I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see it. So basically what you're going to do is it's going to start exactly the same. The kids are going to enter the classroom probably around 9:50, and they can just visit until 10 o'clock, with the exception being in our kindergarten and first grade classroom, you want to pass out the take-home sheet so that they can begin coloring the back of that sheet. So they do that until 10, and then at 10 o'clock you're going to start your belong activity, which is going to be on your rolling cart in your classroom. So from 10 o'clock until 10:10, do that belong activity. At 10:10, normally you would be going to large group, but because it's Memory Verse Sunday, this week you're going to move right into your believe activity, which luckily is a practice of your memory verse. So they will get to look at that memory verse again before they go in to do that memory verse recitation in the sanctuary. So you're going to do that believe activity until it's time to go in the sanctuary. You just want to kind of extend that time because it is possible that they won't be ready for you until a little after 10:20. And so just keep doing that until you are called in. Whoever is our floater for this week will contact you. They'll either stop by your classroom or they'll call you on the walkie-talkies, but they will let you know when it is time to stop and to line up outside the sanctuary doors. So at 10:20-ish, sometime between there, you're going to be lining outside the sanctuary doors and going in to do the memory verse recitation. One person does need to bring a poster with the memory verse on it. So then that way that's in front of the kids. So if there are any kids that were out a lot this month, or if they're brand new to the Oaks, they have that there as kind of something to help guide them if they're not fully comfortable with the memory verse yet. Hopefully everyone should be comfortable if they've been here this month, but that's just kind of there to help those who might not have been here. So following that, our teachers who are teaching the large group lesson do not go into the sanctuary because they're going to go straight back to the large group room to kind of prep for when you guys come back. So after the memory verse, everyone goes straight to large group in that back left classroom to do the large group lesson. It is a 33-minute lesson. So basically, whenever everyone is seated, they're going to start a timer and they're going to start that lesson. It does involve food this week and chocolate sauce. So there will be baby wipes provided. I'm very hopeful that this is going to go really well, but it is possible that it's going to be a big mess too. So kind of like pay attention to their behaviors. If they're acting up, have them sit off to the side. Tell them if they want to participate in the food portion, then they have to be listening, being responsible with their hands, etc. When the large group lesson is over, it's going to be around 11-ish. You're going to come back to your group and you're going to spend 10 minutes doing your become activity, 5 minutes on small group wrap up, and then finish with your discipleship discussion until the parents come back to pick them up. One general knowledge thing, I'm trying to include kind of one general knowledge thing each month on the video. And the general knowledge thing for this month is at the end of your lesson, I do ask that you clean up. We've been doing an awesome job of this. So basically on your carts, you're going to have copies of your lesson plans, copies of take-home sheets. Sometimes there's worksheets like this week. There's hearts and there's memory verse cards. If they are printables that are specific to this week's lesson, then throw those away, whatever's left over. If it's materials that can be reused, like blank paper or tape or scissors or whatever, then those need to go back into the alcove of the second and third grade classroom. These two bookcases back here, they are labeled of what goes where. If you are unsure of where to put it, then just lay it on the floor in front of the bookcases because it just makes it easier for me to be able to grab it and store it away rather than having to go into all three classrooms and clean them up. And the second piece of that is that your board will have things written on it. I do ask that you wipe off the boards at the end of class. So I've already set this up for our second and third grade lesson. But at the end of class, you're going to clean it off. You're going to wipe off the board so that it's all set to be set up for the following week's lesson. So that's kind of the general knowledge tidbit for this month. And we're going to move on to our small group for kindergarten and first grade and second and third grade because they do the same things. I have both of their carts in here today because we're preparing for our member meeting tonight and I wanted that classroom to be empty, but it will be back in the correct spot by Sunday. So this is what your lesson plan looks like. So the videos have been in this format now. I do general knowledge, and then I'm going to go over kindergarten and first grade and second and third grade small group, followed by fourth and fifth grade small group, followed by the large group lesson. That way you don't have to feel the need to watch the entire video. Just watch the pieces that apply to you. Unless if you're curious to know everything, then that is awesome too, and you can watch the whole thing. So everyone has a cover sheet now. Lets you know what the story is for this week. That's going to be covered in large group, our monthly memory verse, our bright idea, and the he, we, me questions that will be covered in large group and then followed up in small group. Following that is our schedule. This used to be on the cover. So it's got the timings written in on there. They're also on the board. And so you are going to use these color-coded things, the titles, to help guide you throughout it. So belong is coming first. And so kindergarten and first grade and second and third grade, your first one is pass the message. It's just kind of like telephone. Doesn't require any supplies. You can read through that here or on the electronic copy. And then you're going to move on to clap, boom, snatch, which is going to involve the cut out memory verse cards. You're going to have one set for every 2 kids. They're going to play this game called Clap, Boom, Snatch, where they try and piece together the memory verse, which you can read more about this either by pausing the video or looking at the electronic copy. There's going to be lots and lots of sets in each of the classrooms. Then after large group, you're going to come back to your room for the cross activity, which you saw a bit of that on the board. Kindergarten, first grade, you have the same activity, but yours is actually on butcher paper. Second and third grade, I just decided to have you just tape it on the dry erase board rather than put up butcher paper for that. So you can read through here about how that's going to work. You need hearts and tape for that. So both groups have hearts and tape in there ready to go. When it says it needs coloring supplies, all the classrooms already have material bins out that will have crayons and pencils and markers set into them. If it's something special, I'll add it to it for that week, with the exception of being scissors, because we have very sharp, very large scissors that I don't like to leave sitting out. And then following that, you have small group wrap up. This is when you cover the me question, because the he and the we are answered in large group. They're going to choose their challenge that comes from their take-home sheet, and you're going to go ahead and pray together. Don't say goodbye yet, because you're still going to do discipleship discussion. Discipleship discussion always kind of looks at an aspect of this week's story and applies it to things that we see in our lives today. So what does the story of Ezekiel mean for followers of Jesus? And then what about illness? And so this will hopefully inspire some deeper discussions with the kiddos. So that is it for if you are teaching the small group for kindergarten and first grade and second and third grade. And I'm going to move on to small group for fourth and fifth grade next. All right, so for my fourth and fifth graders, you have the same as everyone now. You have a cover sheet that didn't used to be on there before, but we thought that this information was important for you to be able to see as well. It lets you know what our story is that we're going to cover in large group, that your follow-up activities will also support what our monthly memory verse was, the bright idea, and the he, we, me questions that are set during large group. And then following that on the back is our schedule that used to be on the front cover. So it's got the times built into there, the names of the activities, as well as the color coding that you can see. So you're going to do belong activity, which is bone smash up. Does not require any materials. If you want to look more closely at this, you can pause it, or you can look at the electronic copy on Planning Center. And then Marshmallow Pass. This game sounds super fun, requires a lot of materials. You are going to do this before you come in to do memory verse Sunday in the sanctuary, because this is practicing the memory verse. They're basically racing. You're going to have them line up, have them sit on the floor, make a line, crisscross applesauce. The first person in the 2 rows, so there'll be 2 rows. The first person in each row gets a cup with 20 marshmallows in it, because there's 20 parts to our memory verse. And then the cards will kind of be at the back of, at the back of the row. And so the kids have to try and tip the cup to the person behind them. The person behind them can see, they're allowed to see, and try and catch as many of them as they can. And they just repeat that all the way to the last person. However many marshmallows make it into the cup at the end of the row is how many words of their memory verse they get to add on. And they just keep doing this over and over again until they've built their entire memory verse. And then they have to actually put it in order. They'll get a card, but it might not be in the right order. So then they'll have to put it in order for our memory verse. So it's just a fun way to practice it. It's a fun kind of silly game. What I would recommend is that when you have the row, have someone start at the front and then just have them turn the other direction, so that the person that was last is now the first person. And they'll just keep going and going. So that is for before memory verse Sunday. And then following memory verse and large group, when you come back, you're going to do your become activity, which required paper and scissors. So that is in there with you, paper and scissors. If you do choose to go upstairs, make sure you have those with you when you head upstairs. I will warn you, these scissors are very large. You can kind of see it next to the paper here to see how big it is. I did include some smaller pears for kids who have smaller hands, but just make sure that they're being very, very safe with that. If you're unsure if they'll be safe with it, have them shred the paper instead of cutting the paper. I do not want any cut skin on Sunday, and you just never know. But so that's the activity for Become, and then you're going to move into your wrap up, which you're going to answer the me question that was set during large group. So answer that together, choose your challenge from your take-home sheet, and you're going to pray together. Don't say goodbye yet, because then you're going to do discipleship discussion. And as with every week, this is when you are looking at kind of the bigger themes of the story that we covered in large group. We're covering Ezekiel during large group. And so how can I know that this is true? And what is the coolest what is the coolest fact you know about the human body? And then, but what about illness? So this is where it's starting to shift a little bit away from the younger kids. They have a different question up there, but it's similar. So this is what you guys are going to be doing during your discipleship discussion. So that is it for 4th and 5th graders. I'm going to move it. Oh, the other piece of this is that at the end of large group, you guys are going to get dismissed before the memory verse song starts. I want you guys to be able to get out of there, to have as much time as you can, so that if you choose to go upstairs, that you have some extra time to do that. You might choose not to. That's teacher choice, especially on Memory Verse Sunday, where sometimes time can run a little bit short. So I'm going to move into the large group lesson now. So if you are teaching large group, feel free to keep watching on, or if you're just curious to know what we're doing. Otherwise, this is the end of the video for if you are teaching small group and that's all you want to see in the video. All right, and finally, we have our large group lesson. So again, you have the same cover sheet as the small groups. I'm not going to go through it again because you've already heard it. This is a Tech Helpers copy. I'm going to use this one so you can kind of see the pieces to it. So you're going to start that 2-minute countdown as the kids are entering the classroom, so that by the time everyone is seated, it is go time. If you look at the times on here, it always has it in here. So the timing is here. 8 minutes for the welcome part, 2 minutes for the find it in the Bible, 10 minutes for Bible teaching, 8 minutes for the review, 5 minutes for wrap up. Memory Verse Sunday is always tricky, because what you have to do is you have to watch that clock yourself once the kids are in there. You're going to kind of have to either wear a watch or be watching your phone to know your timing, so that you're getting the kids out to have enough time to still do their Become activity as well as a discipleship discussion before everyone is dismissed from the sanctuary. So I'm going to get us started on the lesson. So we have our welcome here. It says play upbeat worship music and play music. Stop and play the music a few times. You want them to have a crazy dance party. So I'm going to let you decide what you want to play from there. I can send a playlist and then just play it from your phone. So it can be kind of like a fun, loud music as they enter. You're going to show your intro video, which is on a slide. And then there's also a slide for the he, we, and me questions that you're going to set for today. Then you're going to do your find it in the Bible. This part is not read out loud, but you're going to show a slide and you're going to talk about where today's story fits within God's big story. And you're going to read these parts, and then you're going to guide them to Ezekiel 37. There is a slide that shows the books of the Bible, and so you're going to kind of show where Ezekiel is located in the Bible. I do encourage kids, if they want to read their Bible and read the story as it's being told out loud to them, that is wonderful. As long as they're sitting there quietly and they want to read their Bible while they do that, I love that. So encourage them that they can open their Bibles to that and read that as well. So then we move into Bible teaching. This takes 10 minutes. This is what the other teacher teaches. And so you're going to pray together first and begin to tell the story. There are parts of the Bible in here. They do have it built into the lesson, so you don't have to be opening and closing your Bible throughout it, unless if that's your preference for them to see you actually looking at it. There are slides throughout it. So there's the bones slide there. And the bigger thing as I go through this is that this is a food activity. So the teachers who are not teaching, so basically our kind of behavior monitors that we've talked about, those two people are going to be passing out plates and napkins to each kid. I'm going to do plates and baby wipes. And then 2 pretzels on their plates. They're going to get 2 pretzels. Tell them they do not get to eat these until the end. If they eat them, then they don't get anything additional. And then they get 2 marshmallows later in the lesson. And then even later, they're going to get to do chocolate syrup over it to be the skin. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that risk. We're going to try. And so I'm going to have 3 bottles of chocolate syrup, so that I don't want them getting up and moving around. Teachers can go around and pour it on them if they want it. If they don't want it, that's fine. And at the very end, they are welcome to eat it. And so that's it. And then you point to Jesus, allow them to enjoy their snack at the very end. And then that is the end of Bible teaching. We are putting up an allergy alert around the classrooms. It's going to be outside each classroom as well as the check-in desk that it's pretzel sticks, marshmallows, and chocolate sauce. So if there is a parent that says that they cannot eat it, but they can still do the activity, we will let you know. Or if they say we just don't want them touching any of the food, they can still be in there, but they can't touch the food, then that's fine too. We will let you know if anyone lets us know about anything. And then moving into the next part is the review, which if you look back at your schedule, the review is supposed to be 8 minutes long, and that includes showing the video and going through the questions, which there are slides for that. If you are running long on time, which I could imagine that with the food activity, it could run long, this is the place to make a cut. Either show the video or answer the questions. They're both great. They're both super interactive, and the kids really enjoy. They love the video here because it's fun and it goes over the story in a captivating way. But it's also good to get them involved in answering the questions. So I love both, but if you have to cut, choose one of those to cut, that you as a teacher get to make the choice which to cut. And then move into your wrap up. There are, certain things that you can cut in here for sure. Definitely cut the memory verse and the verse video because they've already done it. They've done their memory verse in the sanctuary. So if you're short on time, skip those. Definitely do the he and the we to answer those questions that they set and remind them of the bright idea and pray together. Never skip the pray together before they leave. But if you do have time for the monthly memory verse, just to kind of reiterate it, even though they've already done it in the sanctuary, just make sure that you dismiss those 4th and 5th graders before showing the video. And I believe that is it for this week. You guys are great. I'm having all of this kind of live in our 2nd and 3rd grade classroom for now because we have our member meeting tonight, and that large group classroom is where we're going to have our kiddos spend some time. So I will get everything moved into the classrooms for Sunday, but we will see you then. Thank you so much for serving. If you have any questions, never hesitate to reach out to me. Just let me know if you have any questions or concerns or suggestions. You can give me a call. You can text me. If you don't have my phone number, which hopefully you do, but if you don't have my phone number, you can find it in Planning Center under People. Just look me up. And I will see you guys on Sunday. Thank you so much. Bye.